somebody will come along who is able to define a truth. Jim Carse is one of those people. And he defined these two types of games, finite games and infinite games. A finite game is defined as known players, fixed rules, and an agreed upon objective. Football, baseball. If there's a winner necessarily, there have to be losers, and more importantly, there's always a beginning, middle, and an end. Always. Then you have infinite games. Infinite games are defined as known and unknown players, which means new players can join at any time. The rules are changeable, which means every player can play however they want. And the objective is to perpetuate the game, to stay in the game as long as possible. One of the things I've learned since I learned Carse's work, which is when you play with a finite mindset in an infinite game, when you play to win in a game that has no finish line, decline of trust, decline of cooperation, decline of innovation. Right? Okay. Genius. I got to meet Jim Carse, my hero.
Confirmed na may putukan na dito. So please, kung sinong nanonood, sinong nakikinig, we expect yung tawagan namin would understand the emotions here and will say we'll do something about it. No?
Is how's the water joke.
Greetings, thanks, and congratulations to Kenyon's graduating class of 2005. There are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys, how's the water?" And the two young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?"
It has to do with curiosity. It has to do with people wondering what makes something do something. And then to discover that if you try to get answers, that they're related to each other. That things that make the wind make the waves, and the motion of water is like the motion of air, is like the motion of sand. The fact that things have common features turns out more and more universal. What we're looking for is how everything works, and what makes everything work. And what happens first in the history is we discover the things that are on the face of it obvious. And then gradually we ask more questions, and then we dig in a little deeper to things that we can make. We need to do a little more complicated experiment to find out about. But it's curiosity as to where we are, what we are. It's very much more exciting to discover we're on a ball, half of it sticking upside down. It's spinning around in space. There's a mysterious force which holds us on. It's going around a great big glob of gas that's burning fueled by a fire that's completely different than any fire we can make. Well, now we can make that fire, nuclear fire. But that's a much more exciting story to many people than the tales which other people used to make up who worried about the universe, that we were living on the back of a turtle or something like that. They were wonderful stories, but the truth is so much more remarkable. And so what's the pleasure in physics is that, for me, is that as it's revealed, the truth is so remarkable, so amazing. And I have this disease, and many other people who have studied far enough to begin to understand a little of how things work are fascinated by it. And this fascination drives them on to such an extent that they've been able to convince governments and so on to keep supporting them in this investigation that the race is making into its own environment.